Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm the Phantom Warrior.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur coming to you with another review. This week I checked out The Phantom Warrior, and this 2024 film was directed by Savasti Michael and stars Nicole Bartel, Adam Deacon, and Dean Cain, which he doesn't really star in it. He's actually just kind of more of a cameo at the end, but whatever. And of course, there are other people in the movie as well. The story of this movie is that there's this woman, and her family has passed many years ago, and they left her with just a few things. So she has this stable, she has this horse, and she has this gun, and that's really kind of it. And then one day she just decides to embrace her destiny and become like a superhero who just goes out doing revenge and retribution to, evildoers. And so she takes her gun and her horse and starts traveling to the city and starts taking out bad guys, whether it's people who hurt children or people who hurt women or, just bad guys in general. There's also this kind of side story or parallel story with this gang, and they're going around, doing retribution for the people that hurt them as well. And so ultimately, since they are hurting people in their own, retribution, then they get involved with, the Phantom Warrior, and she's got to get retribution on them for getting retribution on other people. You know how it is. What will happen though? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this movie. Well, with this one, it's just a fun tale of revenge and retribution all around. Just watching the Phantom Warrior go around, blow people away, I just think is a fun thing. Of course, it's a B movie as well, so it's just a cheesy kind of superhero B movie all around. Even with the other gang of just like hurt people, and it's usually people who have been like sexually abused or physically abused or whatever, going around getting retribution. It's all corny as hell. They all got a lot of one-liners, and that's lots of fun as well. So overall, the story is just a fun story of retribution. Certainly, it reminded me of other kind of well-known B movies. I think there's one called Veronica. This one kind of has a similar feeling without, the nudity aspect of it, but just like the way it's shot, the way everything is kind of handled, I feel like that would be like a comparison that could be made. Certainly, it doesn't go, up to the level of, the camp, I would say, but it has a great amount of camp in this one. So, yeah, just like a cheesy, fun superhero movie. In addition, it's very stylish throughout the whole thing. Just the way things are shot and then the costumes. And oh my gosh, the Phantom Warrior has like the best mask I've seen in a while. It is just like this gold kind of haphazardly kind of glued together metal thing. And I don't know, I really did enjoy it. I thought that was so cool. And then with the gang and how they're all kind of this dull blue type of color going on, and their kind of outfits I thought were really good. And so all of the outfits, at least with the superheroes, definitely worked for me. It certainly added to the style, I would say. And then there's also other shots where they're like in a graveyard, and it's, the white church all lit up versus, the dark trees and tombstones and everything like that. And so, yeah, the shooting and the costumes certainly work together to make something very pleasing to look at. Also, the music works in this one as well. Certainly gets you into it. Certainly is very atmospheric and certainly sets the tone of whatever scene it's happening in. With that being said, I think with the choices of music as well, they kind of show their hand as being a European made movie, and it is made in Britain. I did look that up just to double check. But just their selection just didn't seem, very Americanized. And so that was, perfectly fine. It does have that kind of, I don't know, gravitas to the music that way, or at least that interestingness to that music. And it doesn't, hurt the movie, I would say. And if anything, it really kind of benefits the movie having this, different kind of soundtrack. So that works as well. And lastly, this main actress, Nicole, she's doing this southern drawl the whole time as her accent. And I thought it worked pretty well. Of course, she's a British actress. I've seen her in a few things now. And so she's just putting this accent on the whole time. I think it actually, works pretty well. There's a few times where I thought maybe turn up the drawl or turn up the twang or whatever. but ultimately, it's perfectly fine. I think it actually adds to the character's coolness being all with this kind of American accent, the Southern American accent. I thought that was really neat. And then with the other characters, their accents are all over the place, but the actors I think are doing a fine job, a good job. Of course, with their characters and how the script is written is pretty campy ultimately, but they're doing the best that they can with it all, and it certainly shows. So all the acting certainly was pretty good. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this movie. Well, with this one, it's supposed to be a superhero movie, but none of the superheroes really have any motivation. They do have kind of this story element that's part of these superheroes, I guess, where they all have, I don't really kind of understand it myself. I'll try my best though. But they all have old spirits inside of them, and whether that old spirit was, the god of war, or god of terror, or whatever, that's kind of brought up to the surface now, and now they are, these superhero characters embodied by their previous spirits or something like that. It just made it all kind of confusing and didn't give any motivation really for these characters. I think in the intro I just said, this woman wakes up and decides to follow her destiny, and this is kind of what that translated to with inside the story, is that she has some old spirit or something, and it just makes it kind of confusing. It didn't really add any motivation, I thought, really to the characters. Why would you just be called to be a superhero or whatever? I thought it could be done differently. Ultimately though, I think it adds to the kind of the campiness that part is not really well thought out, and certainly you can go along with it. It certainly is interesting maybe to put all the little pieces together and figure out, whose spirit is what or whatever. And I don't know, it's just something that's in there that just seemed like a little bit of an odd kind of storytelling device. Other than that, this is just a campy B movie, and so it has certain things in it that, aren't perfect. I think there are a few scenes that just go on for a tad too long. They have one scene where it's just all of the gang members just walking in one by one, and they're just doing fashion poses or whatever, and then walking to the side, and the next person comes in. It's pretty funny actually how it's all done, but it's just a little bit too long. Other than that, there's another scene where the main character gets off her horse and walks off screen, and then her horse just stands there and starts spinning in the circle for a few times, and you're just odd, I guess. So there's just these few odd things that could be cut down, could be slimmed down, but are ultimately, I think, add to the camp kind of, I guess. I don't know. It's certainly something a B movie lover will notice. What else? I think with this one, Dean Cain is in it. He's in the last 5 minutes as a cameo, and so that was fun seeing him there. He actually stands up in this one, unlike some of the other cameos I've seen of him, and so that certainly is good. Let's see, what else? With this movie, I think ultimately, unfortunately, it's kind of forgettable. There's no particularly memorable one thing or even several things in it that you'll take a week or two to forget. With this one, it's forgettable almost the next day, and so that, I think, it's just a campy B movie. It has its certainly place in people's hearts, but not one that I think will be particularly remembered for any one thing. So that is, fine. If you're just looking for entertainment one night, I would say this is a perfect, easy to watch movie, just ultimately forgettable. As for a recommendation, well, I would say if you enjoy kind of campy and cheesy movies, this is one to certainly watch and have fun with. Unfortunately, you probably won't remember it afterwards, but you will certainly, I think, have fun while you're watching it. So if you're just looking for some fun entertainment for an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever it is, then, press play on this one. As for a score, well, I thought it was an average B movie, so I'm going to give it the score of 5. I think not everyone, of course, is going to be into B movies, and even with, the B movie community, I've seen a lot of kind of these British ones that don't meet this level of entertainment that this one does. And so given that, I'm going to give it a 5. It certainly has flaws, but certainly that campiness and cheesiness is what I'm there for. So I will give it a 5. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.